evening. It's good to have you join us on News Extra, where we make sure that you get value for the 1 hour 30 minutes of your time you invest with us by feeding you with news that goes far off the ordinary. We are in the era of fuel without subsidy and the attendant effects. That is a mixed grill of the good and the not good. Among the good are federal government's promises to implement measures that will reduce difficulties brought about by the removal of subsidy. Amidst this, the Nigerian Labour Congress proceeded on a nationwide strike protest. The good news is that the union leaders met with Mr. President afterwards and commitments were made to address some issues needing immediate attention. We shall bring you details of all these happenings. Senate is on course with the screening of President Tinubu's ministerial nominees, and I guess you would like to know those who made the President's list of additional nominees just transmitted to the Senate. ECOWAS ultimatum for a reversal to the status quo where the coup in Niger is counting as military defense chiefs of the sub-region meet in Abuja for brainstorming sessions on the situation in Niger. We have all this on our lineup for you tonight. How are state governments cushioning the effects of fuel subsidy removal? The Borno and Ondo examples should interest you. There's a beat on politics, internal security, and the game-changing agenda of Nigeria Immigration Service comes with its attainment of great milestone. Stay with us as we take you on a trip to NTA's latest connection to the grassroots. Not forgetting to, of course, bring you happenings around the business and sports. It is a bumper, and I urge you to hang on there and let's roll together for you to get all the gist. After all, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I'm Elizabeth Omori, and this is News Extra. Welcome. We begin with the nationwide protest. Members of the organized labor today went on a peaceful protest over the removal of fuel subsidy across the nation, making known the position of labor as negotiations continue between it and the federal government. President Bola Tinubu, in a nationwide broadcast on Monday, outlined various measures to be put in place by the federal government to cushion the effects of subsidy removal. The president this evening also met with the labor leadership in the State House following the nationwide protests. National President of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Joseph Ajero, briefed State House correspondents on the outcome of the closed-door meeting.
Okay. What were the issues? The issues are the same issues that led to the protest today. And we have, he has expressed his position, made some commitment, which we are taking side by side with what the National Assembly said, the Senate said, and we're taking it back to the office with our colleagues there to review it and release a document on our next line of action.
He said the president is a pro-democratic activist that understands nationwide protests. The organized labor made up of the Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress of Nigeria wants the federal government to carry it along in decision-making and be more pragmatic in adopting measures that will safeguard the well-being of the citizens. Still on the labor protest, correspondent Joseph Ortson brings us reports from Abuja.
From the Unity Fountain to major roads of Abuja, members from various branches of Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress of Nigeria marched to the National Assembly. It is a protest against increased price of petrol.
The existing minimum wage will expire by next year, so we can't wait till next year. So as a matter of palliative or cushioning the effects of this subsidy, there is what is called wage award. It is known in this country, the Dodgy award was there. Even this January, the federal government gave 40% of salary increase to each workers to cushion the effects of the COVID-19.
The flotation of Naira, that if you leave it to market forces, the Naira may have hit 1,000 Naira to $1. We must continue to insist that our refineries must work. That those early state must tell us what the refineries will work. Because this will address the so-called issue of subsidy, the so-called issue of high price.
Leadership of the National Assembly empathizes with the labor force and pledges to engage the federal government to address their demands.
Fellow comrades, we have motion on ground. The Senate is going to be involved. Please give us 1 week and we will report progress.
In Abuja, Joseph Utsen, NTA News.
And from Abuja, we now move to Lagos, where the joint labor unions took their peaceful protest to the government house, where they pressed home their demands. Hingino John Adams reports that the Deputy Governor, Obafemi Hamzat, who received them, promised the government is sectorially addressing their concerns.
It was a peaceful protest here in Lagos as the various workers' groups kick-started their protest from Ikeja Underbridge down to Alausa, the seat of power, to register their demands before the Deputy Governor. Labour leaders here are concerned about immediate interventions that will ameliorate the effects of subsidy removal.
The employers of labor in the private sector should say, as a matter of urgency, look to immediate palliatives to cushion the effect of this subsidy removal before the minimum wage will be reviewed. Because once minimum wage is reviewed by law, it is mandatory on all employers of labor, either in public or private, to key into it.
If you go to the Nigerian Constitution, there is a portion there that says the welfare of the people shall be the primary responsibility of government. So I think it behoves on the government to listen to our demands, our yearnings.
We are pleading to the government as a matter of urgency to look into the issue on ground, which is burdening on everyone.
Lagos State Governor, represented by his deputy, Obafemi Hamzat, assured members of the labor unions that their demands will be given adequate attention. Meanwhile, a visit to the state secretariat revealed that workers resumed work to perform their constitutional duties. Elsewhere, shops as well as banks were open to business. In Lagos, Adeola Komiakere, NTA News.
That was Adeola Komiakere reporting on the protest in Lagos. Now, the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, and the Trade Union Congress, TUC, embarked on a nationwide protest demanding better offer for its members and the Nigerian workforce to cushion the effects of fuel subsidy removal. Reports on the protest across the nation is compiled by Kenneth Narning.
As the organized labor embarks on a nationwide peaceful protest, Mary Replongdom reports that members of the union in Plateau State joined in the march to press home their demands, which include reversal of government's policies on the recent hike in the pump price of fuel and school fees.
Before you remove the subsidy, put the refineries and refine it, all the products to be sold in Nigeria, Naira and Kobo.
From Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, Ahmad Fulani reports that Deputy Governor of the state, Kayode Alabi, assured the protesters of the state government's commitment towards providing palliatives to cushion the effects of fuel subsidy removal.
I know very well, I am convinced that Ashwani Tinubu is in power to do the right thing as a man of vision.
Ajebola Christopher also told us that the story is the same in Kogi State. In Osogbo, Osun State capital, members of NLC, TUC, and coalition of civil society organizations also took the protest to major streets of the metropolis. Likewise, in Ado-Ekiti, where Olukemi Sani reported that Governor Abiodun Oyebanje, in a message to the protesters, assured that government will continue to promote policies that will enhance the welfare of the people. Reports from Caleb Obunna in Abakaliki, Ifomando Koli from Umahia, and reports from other parts of the Southeast Zone indicate that workers joined their counterparts to participate in the nationwide protest with some of their demands inscripted on placards.
We should also begin to search inwards because we must leave a better nation for our children and our children's children.
The situation was the same in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital, as reported by Emedion Umom. Meanwhile, Doris Akumonye, who monitored the protest in Yenegua, the Bayelsa State capital, reports that the unions were firm in their demands for government to devise means of cushioning the impact of fuel subsidy removal. Meanwhile, major streets in Calabar metropolis witnessed the march staged to drive home workers' demands, as reported by Arit Ndem. Joy Ozo has details of the protests in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, as workers draw attention of the federal government to difficulties being faced by the people, occasioned by recent economic policies.
Our local refineries in Port Harcourt, Warri, Kaduna should be fixed immediately.
He's restless and he is ever willing to do everything humanly possible within his power as the governor of River State to ensure the current challenges that are being felt by not just only members of the labor, but the generality of the masses of River State, that those challenges are properly addressed.
Although no...
There were also protests in Kano, as reported by Muhammad Ibrahim. Kaduna State was not left out in this solidarity march by the organized labor, as it was witnessed by our correspondent Muhammad Umar Ajingi.
We are in principle in support of policy removal, most looking at the scam and the corruption and criminality that are attached to that. But what we are saying, it has to be taken with due process.
Meanwhile, the union leaders are hopeful that their demands have reached their appropriate quarters and will receive immediate attention. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Away from the nationwide protests, development experts attach great importance to infrastructure. No wonder the federal government is once again renewing commitment to bridging infrastructural deficit in the country. This is the direction the Tinubu administration is taking to provide conducive environment for businesses to thrive. Musa Abubakar tells us more.
It's been weeks into the new administration, and President Tinubu continued to roll out his economic agenda for the country.
I had promised to reform the economy for the long-term good by fighting major imbalances that has plagued our economy.
Amongst areas the federal government is prioritizing is the development of infrastructure. This is through the Infrastructure Support Fund for the 36 states of the Federation.
That I approved the infrastructure support for the states. This new infrastructure fund will enable states to intervene, to invest and reinvest in critical areas and bring relief to many of the pain points, as well as revamp our decaying healthcare and educational infrastructure.
Nigeria's total infrastructure stock is estimated at only 35% of the country's gross domestic product, as opposed to the 70% average for emerging economies.
The reviewed National Integrated Master Plan indicates that Nigeria needs an investment of $2.3 trillion in the next 30 years to be able to bridge her infrastructure deficit.
I think it's a very creative way of bridging infrastructural deficiency in the country. We have suffered so much from infrastructural gap. So now what this infrastructural support fund is going to do is to provide ready-made cash, and this is what we don't have before.
The new infrastructure fund is said will enable the states to intervene and invest in the critical areas of transport, health, education, power and water resources. Savings from the removal of fuel subsidy is said will complement the efforts of the fund and other existing planned fiscal measures.
No, the truth is we're going through trying times now. And the federal government is already having problem with financing, development financing. And so to have that kind of funds will also help the state in addressing some of the deficit they're actually having. Another fund, which I want to believe that will counterpart funding from the state as the federal government drops something on the table.
The initiative is said to be welcomed by many as the right move to reduce the country's infrastructure deficit. In Abuja, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
Now, a bit on bilateral relations. Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu calls on the government of the United Kingdom to deepen its partnership with Nigeria and Africa by investing more across sectors so that the African continent can attain more sustainable and broad-based prosperity. He stated this when he received the United Kingdom's Secretary of Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs, James Cleverly, in his office. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila tells us more.
President Bola Tinubu recalled the history of decades of economic ties between Africa and the UK, saying the UK government must work with Nigeria and the rest of Africa to create a competitive, technologically advanced economy that will cater for the needs of all citizens. On the issue of energy transition and the opportunity for economic growth in Africa and Nigeria, President Tinubu charged the Foreign Secretary on the imperatives of the West and UK in particular in mobilizing investment to pipe gas from Nigeria to Europe. On democracy, peace and stability in West Africa, President Tinubu noted that security will remain a challenge as long as there are unstable governments in the sub-region. He used the opportunity of the visit to decry the situation in Niger Republic, the Sahel region, where terrorists are finding comfort, asking governments of UK to support Nigeria to secure West Africa. The Foreign Secretary said he is in Nigeria to promote bilateral and economic partnership, commending the federal government for the support to the creative industries in Lagos after meeting with entrepreneurs, technologists, and young people in the sector, saying the UK government remains a strategic long-term partner of Nigeria and Africa.
We discussed the Africa Investment Summit that the UK will be hosting in London early next year, and we committed to work even more closely still on important issues of defence and security, of trade and investment, and we committed to ensuring the UK and Nigeria meet regularly and formally at ministerial level and senior official level to ensure that the good, strong foundation stone upon which the bilateral relationship is built.
On the political situation in Republic of Niger, the UK Foreign Secretary offered his government support for the decision of ECOWAS and the leadership of President Tinubu in promoting democracy and stability.
Yeah. And we will, of course, continue to liaise with our strong friends in the region, membership of ECOWAS, of course, including Nigeria, as we seek to bring about stability, peace and democracy to Niger.
He congratulated the president on his election victory, steps taken to reform the economy, as well as the bold and decisive action on fuel subsidy removal and multiple foreign exchange markets. From the State House, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
To regional peace, since a military junta in Niger murdered democracy by sacking a democratically elected government, that West African country has been sitting on a keg of gunpowder. Latest on the Nigerian crisis is that chiefs of defense staff of Economic Community of West African states are threatening possible military actions if ongoing peace talks fail. The ECOWAS Commission for Political Affairs, Peace and Security announced this at the ECOWAS Chiefs of Defense Staff meeting holding in Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has details.
On the 26th July 2023, military junta in Niger Republic seized power from the democratic government of the country and took the president, Mohamed Bazoum, hostage. To address the turmoil seemingly truncating socio-economic activities, the Committee of Chiefs of Defense Staff, ECOWAS, is meeting in Abuja to deliberate on the political situation in the Republic of Niger. This platform is in response to the decision of the authority of ECOWAS heads of state and government at their extraordinary session held on the 30th of July 2023 in Abuja, Nigeria.
The recent coup d'etat in the Republic of Niger is one event that calls for our collective attention and a united response. We must face the challenges of restoring democratic governance, Niger, head-on, drawing on our shared experiences, wisdom, and collective resolve.
The forum commended Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the chairman of the regional body, for his determination to ensure political stability in the sub-region.
You are here planning for a possible intervention to restore constitutional order, like we did in a preventive diplomacy in the Gambia when democracy was being threatened in 2016.
A possible military action is an alternative if the Niger military expresses any reluctance to the recommendation by ECOWAS in returning the country to civilian rule.
The take-home from this critical meeting is that diplomacy is ongoing to resolve the conflict in Niger Republic and is expected to last for the next 4 days. If it fails, the committee promised to not only back but bite. What this entails, only time can tell. From the defense headquarters here in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Into activities on the floor of the Red Chamber, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has transmitted to the Senate the second list of 19 ministerial nominees for screening and confirmation. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, read the list which was submitted by the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila.
Among the 19 nominees in the list submitted are the Director General of the Tinubu-Shetima Campaign Organization and former Governor of Plateau State, Simon Bako Lalong.
Ahmed Tijani Kwazo, Bosun Tijani, Dr. Miriam Shetty, Dr. Isiak Salako, Dr. Tunji Alauza, Dr. Yusuf Tango Sununu, His Excellency Adeboyeka Oyetola, His Excellency Atiku Bakudu, His Excellency Bello Matawele, His Excellency Ibrahim Gaidam, His Excellency Simon Bako Lalong, Lola Ade John, Prince Shuaibu Abubakar Audu, Professor Tahir Maman, Senator Aliu Sabi Abdullahi, Senator Alkali Ahmed Said, Senator Henekin Lukubri, Oba Maigari Amadu, Zevania Jizalo.
Also listed are former governors of Yobe, Oshun, Kebbi and Zamfara states, as well as some senators and members of the House of Representatives. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Meanwhile, public media outfits are the image-making organs of governments and therefore require huge investment for efficiency. It is not rocket science as well that people-oriented policies and good governance are necessary to build positive image for any government. These perspectives were highlighted during the ministerial screening session with the special advisor to the President on Communications and Strategy, Dele Alake. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali once again reports.
We used to say that, we say these days that Nigeria had seen it better, it was better in our days and all of that. But Nigeria hasn't changed in terms of geography, in terms of nomenclature. The sun still rises in the east and sets in the west. So what has gone wrong? It is a character of the inhabitants of the nation called Nigeria that has changed tremendously.
Call him an authority in the field of information management. The screening engagements with Dele Alake provided information and education on the place of the media in society and how the Tinubu government will leverage on the power of the media to enhance harmonious coexistence and enhance Nigeria's image as the global scene.
What I will recommend for the president of this country is to concentrate on good governance within Nigeria. And once there is good governance within Nigeria, once our domestic policies are positive and responsive and responsible, the image of Nigeria will naturally shoot up.
Wednesday's screening session featured prominent mention of the largest television network in Africa, the NTA, how it is perceived by the public, and what needs to be done to improve on its record of achievements.
If you look at NTA, for example, if you put it on, despite the fact that it has one of the best, brands in this country as far as reportage is concerned, if you look at the quality of the pictures, there must be some form of investment in, again, the digital assets. And not just in the projects. When I mean investment, not just buying the equipment, ensuring that those who are going to man this equipment are properly trained.
The legal luminary ministerial nominee, while fielding questions, suggested ways to make more effective the fight against corruption by agencies like the EFCC and ICPC.
Fight corruption, but at the same time, the way it is being fought in Nigeria leaves much to be desired. It doesn't augur well to ask the same authority to, okay, do investigation, come and do prosecution. That is where we have problems.
And to put a stop to industrial actions in the health sector, one of Nigeria's best in the medical field, nominated as minister, bared his mind to the lawmakers.
We need to look at the conditions of service, the circumstances, the compensation, and in a way re-energize the sector around the mission, because no one joins the health sector who is not committed to serving his or her patients.
Also screened was Doris Uzoka, a trained medical doctor who switched to the money line.
While the federal government is going on the tax reform and harmonizing taxes or multiplicity of taxes, I think the state governments also need to replicate the same.
So we must commend the president for the choices that have appeared here today, because they are not only well educated, they are also well experienced in various fields.
Having concluded the screening of the first 28 nominees, the Senate would hopefully commence the screening of the next set of 19 ministerial nominees on the list submitted this Wednesday. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Creating a vibrant and all-encompassing approach to economic prosperity seems to be key in President Tinubu's selection of ministers, and Nigerians say their profiles speak volumes in the quest to achieve this goal. Michael Olale reports.
The pathway to economic prosperity is encapsulated in the renewed hope agenda of the present administration, and in delivering on this mandate, there is need for the appointment of ministers who will implement to the later government's policies and direction. With the president fulfilling this constitutional responsibility through his chief of staff exactly 60 days after his assumption of office, Nigerians say is a demonstration of the readiness to rapidly transform all sectors of the economy.
The determination of the president is to find people who will genuinely be committed to the transformation of this country. So I think I have a positive attitude, and I will encourage Nigerians to have positive attitude.
From Nasir El-Rufai, the former governor of Kaduna State, to Wale Edu, a former commissioner for finance in Lagos State, political analysts say the list is a rich combination of youthfulness, creative minds, professionalism, and energy.
There is virtually no one on that list that you say is a professional politician who has no other address. Every one of them has other addresses. They are either lawyer, engineers, administrator, public servant, and all whatnot.
With the promises the personalities present, Nigerians say the actualization of the renewed hope agenda will be determined by the portfolio they occupy.
I want these key areas to be given to those who really understand the terrain very well. Economic team. They should be people who understand the macro and economic and microeconomic dynamics, and then how to balance our fiscal policies, our trade deficit, and all that.
With the second batch of ministerial nominees already presented, the sky is clouded with expectation, in which meeting the demands of the citizenry will go a long way in scoring performances. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NTA News.
Thank you, Michael. And out to the judiciary, the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has granted leave to the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, to serve Director General Department of State Services, Yusuf Magajibichi, through substituted means, an order of court admitting him to bail and directing his remand in the custody of Nigerian Correctional Service. Justice Nicholas Orebo granted the ex parte order following an application moved by Emefiele's counsel, Ogbonaya Shonuga. With this ex parte order, the DSS is to be served the ruling of the Federal High Court, which was obtained on July 25, 2023. Emefiele is standing trial on a 2-count charge bordering on possession of a single-barrel shotgun and possession of 5 ammunition without license, and pleaded not guilty to the charge. Up ahead, palliatives on the upswing mode in some states in the face of the hardships from fuel subsidy removal as we beam a searchlight on moribund textile industries in Kaduna. Details of these and more as we take our first breather. Just stay with us. You're still watching News Extra on NTA. And it's time for some business reports. Our businessman, Musa, will dish out the stories. Musa, you know money matters, right?
Yeah. Well, let's begin with some trade. In realization of the country's move towards industrialization, the Nigeria Export Processing Zones Authority is tightening all loose ends in the management of the country's free trade zones. This has been achieved through collaboration with state governments for the purpose of remodeling the scheme's processes and procedures for greater economic impact. The purpose of the visit to the authority in Abuja is to resuscitate the Megateri Export Processing Zone in Jigawa State, which has been redundant in the last 10 years, and to create an enabling environment for ease of doing business to attract investors.
The structures are already there. The structures are there, and then now there is a political will to make it work. And then, in addition to that, like I said, some investors have already shown interest to be there. So I think everything that is required for the place to come is already on ground.
Before the end of this year, we must have activated that free zone. But you know, we have a track record. We've been able to do that for Cocoa Port free zone. We've been able to do that to reactivate and make Kano free zone more vibrant. We've been able to do that with the Calabar free zone. So we are very confident we will definitely deliver this reactivation program for the free zone within the shortest period of time.
The stakeholders say the collaboration, support and expertise is expected to strengthen the economy through exports. Now to energy, oil prices settled down 2% on Wednesday, despite a historic drop in U.S. crude stocks, as traders de-risk following the downgrade of the U.S. government's top credit by a major ratings agency. CNBC reports that U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures settled down 2.3% to $79.49 a barrel, while Brent crude futures settled down 2% to $83.20 a barrel. The equities market closed Wednesday trading session in positive territory as investors gained 40.9 billion naira. The all-share index climbed 0.12% to close at 64,267.36 basis points. A total of 330.7 million shares in 6,251 deals were traded at the market value of 4.2 billion naira. Today's data shows 57% decline in volume, 45% decline in turnover, and 21% decline in deals. The current market capitalization of the Nigerian Stock Exchange is 35 trillion naira. That's it. News Extra continues with Elizabeth.
Thank you, Musa. Still on economic matters, 2 days ago, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu announced plans to stimulate economic growth and create a conducive business environment for businesses. Moplant Dakok reports on the president's proposed interventions for micro, small and medium enterprises, given their importance to the economy.
Prices of food and other items have increased, occasioned by the cost of fuel and production, which President Bola Tinubu has acknowledged. The president says the struggle is not just for households, but businesses as well. And already, the federal government is working closely with states and local governments to implement interventions that will cushion the pains of Nigerians.
Our administration recognizes the importance of micro, small and medium-sized enterprises and the informal sector as the drivers of growth.
Small business owners like Ibrahim here are set to benefit from the federal government's 50 billion naira conditional grants to nano businesses, of which each trader is expected to get at least 50,000 naira.
Director General of the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency, Olawale Fasanya, is ecstatic and foresees a ripple effect on the economy.
So the multiplier effect of that 50,000 is very massive. What we intend to do is to make sure that we do proper enumeration so that it is the right people that will get this 50,000. And when we give them this money, one, we are moving them from informality to being formal. So they can now have bank accounts because the money will not be given them in cash.
President Tinubu says government is leaving no stone unturned to also strengthen the manufacturing sector, where it plans to spend 75 billion naira.
The allocation of funds to manufacturing sector to come in form of loan and working capital will help to assuage the issues that we have had with access to credit. Of course, 75 billion naira won't solve all the problems, but I think it's an indication of the direction that the government is going.
It is anticipated that when the funds are disbursed and businesses take advantage of the credit opportunities, it will usher in prosperity and financial stability for Nigeria. In Abuja, Muplang Dakok, NTA News.
It means businesses are set to thrive. Now, Kaduna was once an industrial hub, provider of more than 40,000 jobs, facilitator of export of quality, locally produced fabrics and garments. I guess you know what I'm talking about. Well, it now reflects the direct general state of industrial collapse and economic misfortune, desiring urgent intervention. Yes, it is a story of a now moribund Kaduna textile production mills taken over by grasses and reptiles. Sulaiman Rigachukun tells us more about it.
About 6 decades ago, a collaboration between northern Nigerian government officials with a foreign expatriate, David Whitehead, resulted to the building of the first large textile manufacturing mill in Nigeria, Kaduna Textiles Limited, KTL, which began production in 1957. In the following decades, several textile mills opened in the state, which include the Arewa Textiles, United Nigerian Textiles Limited, UNTL, and Nortex, among others.
The life when you are here, Arewa, Nortex, Tunners, all these textiles here, Arewa was born. But due to the lack of materials, I don't know what is causing. The lot of workers, they are dropped.
Textiles production, spinning and dyeing operations expanded during the oil boom years of the 1970s. Yet, by 1997, KTL, Arewa Textiles and UNTL were barely functioning, operating with obsolete equipment, without capital to obtain spare parts, and without a regular source of electricity, black oil and water. By 2007, all the 3 mills had closed down. In the early 70s, 80s and 90s, this textile factory and others spread across Kaduna State used to be the industrial hub of not only northern Nigeria but the entire country, and employer of over 40,000 jobs. They are now shadow of themselves and homes to reptiles and grasses.
Cannot be refined because nothing inside there. Everything are turned to empty.
Aside political instability, which contributed to abrupt shifts in industrial policy, experts say failure to maintain power infrastructure, among other external factors, such as the Structural Adjustment Program that deregulated the currency and made import of spare parts and modern weaving equipment prohibitively expensive in the 80s, among other factors, have undermined efforts at revitalizing the local textile manufacturing.
We have seen a situation where the federal government has really injected about 200 billion to this industry to come back to fold. We have not seen anything happening.
Effort should be made to entice investors to come and set up new companies. That's the only way out.
Stakeholders are optimistic that with the renewed hope of the Tinubu administration, moribund textiles in Kaduna, among other collapsed factories in commercial city of Kano, will bounce back soon. Sulaiman Rigachukun, NTA News.
That textile mill needs urgent attention. I guess you would agree with me. Now, with the declaration of a state of emergency on food security by President Tinubu, Borno State government is targeting 300,000 vulnerable households for distribution of palliatives in 27 local government areas. Governor Zulum announced this while flagging off distribution of palliatives at Mona Camp in Jerry local government area. Mohammed Goni reports.
Each of the 5,000 male beneficiaries received 25 kg bag of rice and 10 kg bag of beans, while 8,300 female beneficiaries received 5,000 naira and a fabric each. Distribution of palliative to vulnerable citizens at Muna camp was the third in 2 weeks following humanitarian intervention in Goza and Kukawa local government areas.
About 100,000 vulnerables within Maiduguri and its environs. Then additional 200,000 people will be carefully selected among the remaining 25 local government areas of Borno State.
Governor Bagana Umar Azlim also allocated 500 housing units at Baibukarti community, inaugurated by former President Muhammadu Buhari, to officially resettle 5 communities 1 kilometer away from Mulai. The allottees of the houses expressed gratitude to the state government for returning them to normal life. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
That's indeed cheering. Now, to mitigate the effects of fuel subsidy removal on workers and residents, Ogun State government is set to roll out mass transit buses that will be powered by compressed natural gas. Yemi Dalima reports that residents are lauding the initiative.
Me are some of the diesel petrol buses which have just been converted to a compressed natural gas enabled vehicles in Ogun State. The buses, when operational, are expected to be charging rates that are commensurate with what obtained before the fuel subsidy removal, and plans are on by Ogun State government to have more of the buses converted. Olubenga Owolabi is a worker in Ogun State Civil Service who manages 15,000 naira fuel to and fro his Okemoson office within 3 days post-fuel subsidy removal. However, government's proposed conversion of buses to compressed natural gas will serve as a relief for him and others like Wole Shokumbi.
With the introduction of CNG that will return us to pre-subsidy regime, I think it will be so beneficial. It is as if it should even start today.
Very timely, because it will assist a lot.
Former senior special advisor to Governor Dapo Abiodun on energy, Olaniji Adedapo Aishida, and the leader of the Indian team that handled the conversion to CNG say the converted buses are safe for use, as government also put in place plans for sustaining the project.
There's a value chain to be created. The government is going to invest in the workshops for conversions around the 20 local governments. Then we will have a PPP arrangement with private sector for refilling stations.
Actually, we are going to gain environmental friendly, pollution will be eradicated, and the transport fare will go down.
Diesel vehicle, we will convert modification engine modification needed, so it will take 2-3 days. But petrol vehicle no need to modification engine, so it will take same day. Ogun State government is targeting the conversion of 2,000 diesel petrol buses to compressed natural gas, beginning with the state-owned buses and then all mass transit buses owned by the private sector, and launch an e-mobility program for swapping all petrol-dependent motorcycles and tricycles with electricity-powered ones. In Abuja, Yemi Dalimo, NTA News.
In short words, promoting our renewable energy mix. Now, when the rains set in, unarguably the happiest people are farmers. They roll up their sleeves, gather their implements, and begin the task of food production. Well, the rains have set in, and farmers in Kogi State are raring to go. However, they want government to assist them with better tools and inputs, such as fertilizers. Their appeal for support is to enhance the quality of produce for both personal and commercial purposes. In this report, Ajibola Christopher examines challenges farmers are facing this cropping season.
Agriculture is a cornerstone of Nigeria's economy, and with the onset of the rainy season, farmers have returned to their field to engage in rigorous land preparation, aiming for a bumper food crop production. However, the scarcity of food crops in the market has been attributed to a lack of sufficient fertilizers and farm implements.
We need fertilizer, that is,
to use to make our crops to be germinate.
I'm appealing that federal government should look into serious women and encourage them who want to farm, but the financial aspect, the means is not there.
Agricultural expert Ojola pointed out that this is the critical time for yielding yams and other food crops in the farm. He urges the farmers to have access to proper storage facilities.
Good farmer and farmers that are ready to do business in terms of farming should always think of having a storage so that when the crops are getting finished in the farm and the market is already depleting for glut, the farmers can be going to their store to bring out crops.
The government of Kogi is responsive to agricultural needs in Kogi State. In this farming season, the government has made provision for fertilizers to be supplied to farmers. As I speak with you, enough fertilizer has been provided, which very soon will be given out to farmers. If we probably acquire cassava stems, we're giving to them.
Farmers in Kogi State, like most farmers in Nigeria, are often challenged by lack of farm implements as they strive to contribute to the country's agricultural growth. In Lokoja, Ajibola Christopher, NTA News.
Contributions and sacrifices of civilian JTF in turning the tides of insurgency in Borno in focus in our next segment, plus Nigeria Immigration Service and the game-changing moves as it attains 60 years of existence. These and more when returned from this next break. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with the NTA. Former President Muhammadu Buhari has explained his inability to be present at the caucus meeting and the National Executive Committee NEC meetings of the All Progressives Congress APC, to which he has been invited and has conveyed his apologies, indicating that he is unable to attend due to commitments earlier made. Muhammadu Buhari used the opportunity to express his support and commitment to the party, at the same time wishing it a good meeting as the leaders take decisions on issues of importance to the party and the nation. Now let's talk politics and leadership. Former Governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, has promised to concentrate on building internal party democracy if given the opportunity to serve as the national chairman of the governing All Progressives Congress. This was when he received leaders of the Confederation of APC support groups in Abuja. Saliu Guanara reports.
Barely 1 year and a half in office, 3 members of the National Working Committee, including the National Chairman and National Secretary, have resigned their positions. This development has increased intra-party engagement in order to fill the vacant positions whose occupants are currently in acting capacity. This engagement among members of the Confederation of APC support groups and the immediate past governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, is towards a search for a new national chairman for the party.
We want to give you our full support. We are transited from amalgamated to the Confederation of all APC groups. We want you, when you resume office or right from here, to endorse the Confederation of all APC support groups to work for you.
There is no doubt we'll concentrate on internal democracy. We assure you that all the discrepancies, all the disagreements, all the factions, we make sure that we put machinery in motion.
As the party prepares for a National Executive Committee meeting, stakeholders are hopeful that a new leadership will emerge for the APC. In Abuja, Saliu Guanara, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party has inaugurated campaign councils for the November 11 governorship elections in Bayelsa, Imo and Kogi states. Correspondent Timothy Yusuf reports that certificates of return were also presented to the governorship candidates.
The three PDP candidates for the governorship election are incumbent governor of Bayelsa State, Senator Douye Diri, who is seeking a second term, Senators Dino Melaye of Kogi and Samuel Anyanwu of Imo States. The PDP leadership is hopeful that the party will retain Bayelsa State in addition to reclaiming Imo and Kogi states. Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke, on behalf of chairmen of the campaign councils, advocated the need for synergy to guarantee victory for the party.
When you vote PDP, you vote life, development and progress.
The three governorship candidates called on the election management body, INEC, to play according to the rules of the game. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
To community policing. No doubt the civilian joint task force assisting the military to fight insurgency in the northeast has pulled its weight and paid its dues. Interestingly, we are told the CJTF, as it is popularly known, is relevant due to the bravery, resilience and doggedness of members displayed in the course of the struggle. Zainab Adam in this report brings out the contributions and sacrifices of the CJTF in reducing to the barest insurgency in Borno since joining the war in 2012.
Behind me is one out of the dozens of security posts being manned by the gallant and popular civilian JTF erected in virtually most parts of Maiduguri city during the days of the infamous Boko Haram insurgency. Their gallantry in supporting the military to degrade the insurgency is legendary, earning themselves accolade within and outside the state. It could be recalled that in 2009, Boko Haram group turned violent and carried out a series of attacks in Maiduguri, which resulted to a violent response by members of the group, traces of which are still being witnessed in some isolated locations. How did the civilian JTF came into being is the question put to those with the knowledge of how it all started.
We just come out in 2013, the youth of the MMC and Jerry, to protect the life and properties of the citizens of our state and the Nigerian in large. And we are also supporting all the security outfits in carrying out their operations.
What is the extent of sacrifice made by the CJTF all through the period the insurgency lasted?
A bomb exploded with your colleague, but that still doesn't lower our morale.
We have lost about 1,758 in this counter-insurgency operation.
Borno State Command of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps attests to the immense contribution of the civilian JTF in defeating the Boko Haram.
They are indigenous majorly. They will be able to provide intelligence information adequately by which you can nab them. The civilian JTF are of so much value.
Some Maiduguri residents comment on the voluntary security outfit as it affects them in various ways.
People are now crying for peace. So I think the role they have played is a very great role, which is undeniable.
The CJTF complement the effort of the military in a variety of ways. They are a group that are close to the communities. They have the tendencies of getting community intelligence much more than the military. They are more trusted than the military. They are seen as part and parcel of the community. So they wouldn't conspire with any group against the community because they belong to the community.
If the Maiduguri example of the community policing is anything to go by, it will not be an exaggeration to suggest replication of the outfit across Nigeria for improved security of lives and property. In Maiduguri, Zainab Adam, NTA News.
We do commend their commitment to bringing peace to the area. Now, the Nigerian Immigration Service is 60, and with a new leader in charge, reforms come as no surprise. Acting CGI Caroline Adepoju has committed to leading the service in a new direction, and this brings the beginning of a launch of new operational vehicles to boost morale and a new mentality in passport administration.
And vision of the service. Envision is modernization, automation, and improved service delivery. This we will accomplish by reducing human interface, decongestion of our service delivery centers, such as our passport offices.
To achieve this, the Acting Comptroller General of Immigration plans to improve staff welfare while pushing technical partners to make more passport booklets available. The service also plans to introduce a new visa regime to promote the government's ease of doing business policy.
We have proposed the issue of the trust visa, economic trust visa, whereby we will assist interested investors in checking profiles of their will-be partners. We will guarantee them, we will work hand in hand with the security agencies in Nigeria to be sure that foreign direct investors are not swindled of their hard-earned monies.
The Acting Comptroller General is also plotting greater use of technology to police Nigeria's expansive borders. Do you know which part of the country Gwaram community is located? Well, NTA is living up to its popular slogan of "You can't beat the rich" by making its presence in Gwaram. Another time out, and we shall take you there right after that. To stay with us. It's still News Extra on NTA. Rail transport is without contradiction the cheapest, safest and most convenient way of mass movement of people, goods and services globally. With the prevalent petrol price situation, rail transport is an option most Nigerians are choosing without a second thought. The question is, how palatable are train services even where available? Abdulwahid Bibire visited the Ilorin train terminus and reports on the prospects of people on that axis enjoying rail transportation.
Ilorin train station is located in the heart of the state capital. The train terminus, particularly in the early 70s, was a cynosure of all eyes due to beehive of activities as a result of interstate train shuttle services. I was at the train station and what I saw was not encouraging. Grasses have taken over the premises with heaps of refuse dotting its landscape, while narrow gauge has become obsolete. The train station, according to some people I interacted with, if revived, will serve as a relief to the masses, especially now that the removal of subsidy on petrol has led to hike in the cost of road transportation.
If train is working perfectly well, it will help people. It will reduce the burden being experienced by the people.
More than 3 years ago, there is train here moving from here to Offa in a token amount. But later on, I don't know why they cancel it.
If the train is moving, it will subsidize the transportation of the people. People are suffering about the transportation.
Coming to a train station, I see people alighting from train or trying to board a train to their destination. They are always happy. So a train should be a very good option for transportation.
Although government is constructing modern train stations across the country, Ilorin Terminal Station is yet to receive attention.
The Ilorin train terminal station, which used to be one of the best in the country, is now a shadow of its former self. The appeal of the people is for government to urgently fix it. Abdulwahid Bibire, NTA News.
Thank you, Abdulwahid. You can't beat the rich. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Yes, I'm talking about the NTA. Well, another station is about to come up to add to the aphorism NTA, the largest television network in Africa. Here is introducing NTA Gwaram Community Station, designed to connect the people of the area and beyond with happenings around the world through excellent television programming. General Manager NTA Dutse Bashir Usman Chedi, who inspected the installation of digital equipment preparatory to the station's kick-off, commends the team of NTA engineers for their commitment to ensure the success of the exercise. Ibrahim Bello brings us details.
NTA Gwaram, gateway of Gwaram and surrounding local government areas to the rest of the world, expected to showcase the rich cultural value socio-economic activities and political landscape of the people, among others.
Channel 30 with 2.5 watt transmitter, NTA Gwaram is expected to provide wide range of opportunities to the people, being the most populated local government area in Jigawa State, through quality programs. General Manager NTA Dutse Bashir Usman Chedi says the quality of television equipment being mounted will provide the needed digital television experience.
We decided to come here for on-spot analysis to see what is happening, and Alhamdulillah, from the inspection we have done so far, almost 78% or 90% of the project has been completed.
We've tested all the equipment, the connections are almost completed, but not fully. We're on the last stage. And when we are finished with the connection now, we'll now test. We have not tested, we're about to test.
To the people of Gwaram and neighboring local governments, they can't wait to witness its kick-off and experience being connected to the rest of the world through NTA Gwaram.
This is something we are happy about. Allah has answered our prayers. I am happy, and the people of Gwaram appreciate all joys that make it possible.
All is now set for the community station to commence test transmission. From Gwaram, Ibrahim Bello, NTA News.
That's good news, and NTA leads, others follow. So far, so good. Stay tuned for some sporting news when we return from our final break for the night. Glad for staying. The leadership of Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, led by its president, Comrade Joe Ajero, and that of Trade Union Congress, TUC, Comrade Festus Usifo, after a meeting with President Bola Tinubu Wednesday evening at the State House, resolved to stop further protests. The Labour leaders opted for further constructive engagement with the government to resolve all outstanding issues as they affect the workers and Nigerians in general. President Tinubu gave his commitment to the Labour leaders that the Port Harcourt refineries will start production by December 2023 after the completion of ongoing rehabilitation contract between NNPC Limited and Italian firm. President Tinubu assured the Labour leaders that he would continue to work with the best interest of Nigeria while pleading with the Labour leaders to join hands with him to birth a better and economically buoyant country. Defending champion Nigeria through to the semi-finals of FIBA Women's Afro Basketball as many points are on. 10th National Assembly is also set to revive National Sports Commission Bill. Ayodeji Makinde brings us details.
House of Representatives Committee on Sports has expressed readiness to ensure that the National Sports Commission and Sports University bills are passed into law. Chairman of the committee, Ekene Adams Abubakar, in his first official engagement since being inaugurated as chairman of the committee in the 10th House, says peace amongst warring factions and those with vested interests must be addressed for the two bills to become a reality.
I tell you and I assure you, we are here to speak about peace and unity first between all stakeholders, which I knew by the special grace of God. Let's embrace that peace, and that bill will be passed.
Team Nigeria to the World and North America Scrabble Championships vow not to relent in their bid to reclaim the world title after recording top 3 finishes at the event in Las Vegas, USA. Though former world champion Wellington Jigiri won the North America Championship for Nigeria, the team could only finish second at the World Championship after cumulative score behind Australia.
Getting the trophy was what we planned for. Not getting the trophy this time around means we have to go back to do a lot of work.
To have more top players attend the World Championships, maybe up to 20 top players, attend and play the main event. If we have that, I'm sure the next World Championship we are going to return our title as #1.
In another development, International Kano Federation President Thomas Konietzka has expressed confidence in Nigeria's ability to host one of the main Olympic qualifying events for Africa in November, after witnessing the first African Admiral Pobeni Boats Championship in Abuja.
And we discussed today during this competition how we can help better to engage more kids in our sport. And I'm sure time is coming that even more African athletes will qualify for the Games.
Moving on to football, South Africa's Banyana beat Italy 3-2 to reach the round of 16 of FIFA Women's World Cup, where they will play against Netherlands, while Morocco need maximum points against Colombia on Thursday to have a chance of progressing beyond the group stage. With sports updates, Ayodeji, Makinde, NTA News.
Still on some sporting stories, the only bone of contention between the police and criminals is crime. With genuine repentance, therefore, the two can be both friends and playmates. This is the case in Kano, where Team Nigerian Police engages Team Repentant Criminals in a novelty football match. Elizabeth Yila reports that it was a rib-cracking encounter akin to Spanish El Clasico.
One of the promises made by the Kano State Police Commissioner, Mohammed Hussaini Gumel, when he assumed office in Kano, is to bring an end to all forms of criminality and thuggery that goes on within the state. He has indeed remained true to his words, with 99 former thugs, popularly known as Yandaba, have repented and have said no to their ways. And part of his activities to encourage this set of individuals is an organized football match.
The novelty football match, which lasted 40 minutes, saw the CP boys recording the first goal after halftime before the Kano Repentant Youths leveled up to first, the game to end 1-1 draw.
I have engaged in hunting and thuggery out of childishness. Before, killing of people and stealing were carried out in town, but the CP has put a stop to it. He advised us to go back to school. We have had and have gone back to school.
The Commissioner of Police appreciated the courage shown by the youths as he sent a stern warning to those bent on continuing in the path of chaos.
Unfortunately, there are 3 notorious among them who are not ready to repent, who are not ready to surrender. So we have declared a very serious manhunt for them. We have invited members of the public that anybody who has trace of their location should please collaborate with the police.
More such novelty matches have been lined up between the police team and journalists, Kannywood actors, TikTokers, and host of others in an effort to engender mutual rapport between the police and the public. In Kano, Elizabeth Yila, NTA News.
I'm sure they had a swell time. Well, we all know the devastating impacts of gully erosion and other environmental challenges to livelihood. Many states, including Gombe, are bedeviled by these challenges. Well, Gombe State has gotten lucky and attracted a World Bank intervention of $35 million to tackle these natural challenges. Gombe is one of the 20 benefiting states for the agroclimatic resilience in semi-arid landscapes, a CRESAL project. Abbas Mekaino has a report on the official launch of the project.
With about 200 active gully erosion sites across the 11 local government areas and still expanding, Gombe State is among the states grappling with serious environmental challenges. The problem has been, over the years, ravaging properties worth billions of naira in addition to loss of lives. During official launch of the State AgriSel project and implementation support mission, Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya expressed optimism that his administration partnership with World Bank through the AgriSel project will help to provide a healthy and eco-friendly environment.
The AgriSel project is another opportunity to fast-track climate action and enhance environmental sustainability. As a mark of our commitment towards strengthening climate resilience, the state government paid the sum of 503 million naira as counterpart funding for the AgriSel project.
The 6-year World Bank multi-million-dollar project is aimed at increasing sustainable landscape management practices and strengthening relevant institutions for excellent results.
It's more about community engagement. This is a critical aspect of AgriSel project.
It's a 6-year project that touches areas of agriculture,
environment, and water resources.
The AgriCell project task team was led by Dr. Joy Eganya Agene. In Gombe, Abbas Mekano, NTA News.
And next is a look at the weather picture for tomorrow.
You're welcome. Thursday looks busy with rains accompanied with thunder to parts of Kaduna, Adamawa, Taraba, Bauchi, Gombe, with rains streaming down to parts of Plateau, Nasarawa, the FCT, and Benue State. 1 or 2 drops of rains are expected to parts of Enugu, Imo, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River State. We expect more outbreak of rains through the afternoon into evening hours, as most cities within the country are expected to witness some weather activities. The temperatures are sitting comfortably in their 30s. Let's have a look. I am Akami Samara.
And that ends News Extract tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Do enjoy your night rest.